I should not be who I am today without the man I shall call Mr. Smith. He was among my few friends outside the digital ether, a rare, tangible soul in a world of usernames and profile pictures. We were remarkably alike. We both lounged about in three-piece suits like anachronisms, favored strong liquor and old-fashioned pipes, and devoured pretentious tomes like Homer and Dante. Our conversations, often stretching into the early hours, drifted from theology to metaphysics, circling truth like moths around a flame. But unlike many companions, he made me better. Mr. Smith helped me overcome my social fears, especially around women, and nudged me into friendships I might never have had on my own. What he never knew was that his mere presence also kept me from indulging in less noble tendencies. He grounded me, gave my mind structure. Years ago, on a whim, I adopted the online moniker Aten of Alexandria. Why? I suppose I was drawn to the pharaoh's strange monotheism and alien art, the sun disks and elongated heads. A curiosity more than a conviction. The of Alexandria part was an affectation, nothing more. But for those unfamiliar, Akhenaten was an Egyptian pharaoh who dared to reform Egypt's many gods into the worship of a single deity, Aten, the radiant sun disk. His symbol was a blazing sun with countless arms reaching down like fingers. After Akhenaten's death, his reforms were scrapped. His name and legacy were buried, only to be unearthed centuries later by archaeologists. I found the story compelling, nothing more. But Mr. Smith did not. At first, he simply found Atenism interesting. He studied it obsessively, far beyond anything I ever did. Soon, he could recite facts, speculate on interpretations, and draw parallels to modern and ancient faiths. I often listened. We shared a love of abstraction, and I didn't see the danger then. But slowly, the facts gave way to conviction. His musings transformed into doctrine. He started calling Aten the true face of the nous, the Platonic mind behind all reality. And then, without fanfare, that metaphor collapsed. Aten became God. Not like God, just God. His beliefs turned literal, and his views, they spiraled. He had always flirted with the fringes of the political right, but now, layered with mysticism, his ideology grew darker. I remember one conversation in particular that chilled me. The Greeks believed that African skin is dark because the sun once scorched them when it flew too close, he mused. Egypt revered the sun as their chief deity. Their skin, capable of basking in his radiance, seems almost chosen. Perhaps our intellect is just compensation for our distance from Aten. I said nothing. What could I say? That wasn't theology. It was madness wrapped in myth. He began sunbathing, hours at a time. He claimed he needed nothing between himself and his God, not even sunscreen. His skin, he said, must feel the gaze of Aten directly. He even converted a room in his house into a sunbathing chamber, a private temple. Naked, of course. Reverence demanded full exposure. He invited me, repeatedly, to join. I never did. Before long, he had gathered others, like-minded souls who shared his newfound faith. Men at first, then women, separated by a flimsy wall until even that was deemed unnecessary. He quit his job, lived off savings, ate little, slept often, usually in the sunlight. I saw him less and less. When I visited, the house reeked of sweat and something older, fouler. Hygiene had been discarded along with reason. I will never forget the last visit before everything fell apart. I stepped inside and nearly gagged. The air was thick, heavy with rot like meat left in the sun. The walls were scrawled with crude murals of Aten as a burning octopus, arms stretching across every room. The furniture was gone, replaced with cloths, oils, and human forms. Sunburnt bodies lay in devotion, red and raw, their skin peeling like bark from dying trees. "There is no danger," Mr. Smith said from across the room. His voice was dry, cracked, like old leather. "Our libidos have been baked out." He wasn't lying. Whatever eroticism once existed had been flayed away by the merciless sun. Their skin hung in ribbons, their eyes dry and vacant. They were not worshippers. They were offerings. I tried, one last time, to save him. I pleaded, reasoned, threatened, begged, but he looked past me, smiling faintly, as though I were just a shadow cast by something brighter. He said, "Aten is pleased." So I left. Told him to contact me if he ever remembered himself. He never did. That year we did not see each other on my birthday. When his came around several months later, I felt an ache I could not ignore. Despite everything, I missed my friend. So I went to his house one final time. The smell hit me halfway up the walkway. It was no longer sweat. It was decay, wet and rich and sickening. I wrapped my scarf around my face and opened the door. Inside was horror. The floor oozed with fluids I dared not identify. The walls pulsed with the heat. Flies buzzed lazily, too full to flee. And in the basking room, under the great mural of Aten, lay two bodies. They were barely human, sun-blackened, swollen, leaking. "Mr. Smith?" I called out, my voice cracking. There was a pause. Then from the far corner, someone replied, "With Aten." It wasn't him. I turned and fled. I called the authorities, told them only what I had to. Later, I learned the rest. Mr. Smith and the woman, his so-called sister in faith, had committed suicide by devotion. They offered themselves as burnt sacrifices to Aten, and apparently their hope was that I would follow. But what came next still haunts me. A few nights after the police took the bodies, I had a dream. I saw Mr. Smith. Sometimes he looked like himself, tanned and confident in a three-piece suit. Other times, he was that corpse, melted, split, bubbling with pus. He smiled, regardless of form. "Night, it's so good to see you again. It's time to join us." He reached out, his arm stretched, impossibly long, tapering into beams of light, and as it touched my skin, I felt a searing pain. I screamed. I made the sign of the cross and awoke in terror. My heart raced, my sheets were soaked, but it was just a dream, wasn't it? Until I looked at my arm. A deep burn, unmistakable, and in the shape of a hand. And that, dear reader, is why I clutch to my crucifix with bleeding fingers, why I visit my priest more often than my family, why I pray now, not out of habit, but out of fear, because something reached through the dream and it burned me.